Hey, welcome back to Bigfoot Forensics, the show that utilizes forensic science and the different disciplines within crime scene investigations to study evidence, sightings, and eyewitness testimony concerning Bigfoot. Today, we're going to be talking about eyeshine and the important roles it plays for animals, whether they are nocturnal or crepuscular. That's right, crepuscular. You don't want to miss this. We're going to learn a new word, maybe a couple, and we're going to learn how this actually works. So what is eyeshine? Eyeshine is the visible effect caused by the tapetum lucidum, particularly beneficial for nocturnal and crepuscular animals. There's that word again. So crepuscular, animals that are active during the night or at dawn and dusk. Okay. Crepuscular is at dawn and dusk, right? And of course, nocturnal, active at night. How does eyeshine work? All right. The tapetum lucidum, it enhances night vision in animals by reflecting light that passes through the retina back into the eye, giving the photoreceptor cells a second chance to absorb the light. This process increases the amount of light available to the photoreceptors, thereby enhancing visual sensitivity in low light conditions. It's composed of various materials depending on the species, including guanine crystals, riboflavin, and other reflective substances. These materials create a mirror-like substance. So when light enters the eye, it passes through the cornea and the lens, eventually reaching the retina. Some of this light is absorbed by the photoreceptor cells, the rods and the cones in the retina, which convert light into neural signals for vision. The remaining light that is not absorbed by the photoreceptors passes through the retina and strikes the tapetum lucidum. The tapetum lucidum reflects this unabsorbed light back through the retina. So this reflection gives the photoreceptor cells a second chance to capture and absorb the light. By providing a second opportunity for light absorption, the tapetum lucidum effectively amplifies the amount of light available to the photoreceptors. So now we know the light reflected by the tapetum lucidum is what we perceive as eyeshine when we shine a light into the eyes of nocturnal animals. So this glow is often visible in various colors, depending on the type of animal and the specific composition of the tapetum lucidum. So we have different color variations for different animals, right? Right. So the color of the eyeshine can vary based on several factors. First, animal species. Different animals have tapetum lucidum composed of different reflective materials, resulting in different colors of eyeshine. Also, the angle of the light at which the light enters the eye and is reflected can affect the perceived color. I said perceived, right? It can affect the perceived color and intensity of the eyeshine. And also, and this is a big one, mineral composition. The specific minerals and structures within the tapetum lucidum contribute to the variation in eyeshine color. So when I say that they contribute to the variation in eyeshine color, I'm not talking it goes from blue to red or from yellow to blue, nothing major like that. What I'm talking about is, say, deer, for instance. Sometimes people report them as white, light green, yellow, light blue. And when I say light blue, I mean it looks white with a hint of blue, white with a hint of yellow, things like that. That's going to be the different mineral compositions that are affecting that. Also, more than likely, the type of light that's being used, whether it be white LED or incandescent like headlights, things like that. All these things are going to play a role and a factor in what type of light is reflected back. All right, so are there any disadvantages to having a tapetum lucidum? Yes, there are some disadvantages. So, despite the benefits in enhancing night vision, here are some of the key drawbacks. Number one, visual acuity. One of the primary disadvantages of the tapetum lucidum is a reduction in visual acuity. The reflection of light within the eye can cause images to appear blurrier. This is because the light bouncing around inside the eye can scatter, leading to a less sharp image. For example, cats, which have a highly effective tapetum lucidum, they need to be 7 times closer to an object to see it as sharply as a human would in bright light. The increased sensitivity to light comes at a cost of detail. The tapetum lucidum enhances the ability to see in low light, but can make it harder to discern fine details. So, this trade off is particularly evident in animals that rely heavily on night vision, as the reflected light can interfere with the clarity of the image. All right, now let's talk about color vision. Animals with a tapetum lucidum often have a higher proportion of rod cells compared to cone cells in their retinas. Rod cells are more sensitive to light but don't detect color, whereas cone cells are responsible for color vision. This means that animals with a tapetum lucidum may have reduced color vision, which is another trade off for that enhanced night vision. So, the presence of a tapetum lucidum is an example of an evolutionary trade off. While it provides significant advantages for nocturnal and crepuscular animals by enhancing their ability to see in low light conditions, it also imposes limitations on their visual acuity and color perception. This trade off is a result of the need to balance different visual requirements based on the animal's ecological niche and behavior. All right, something else is pretty cool. Some animals have anatomical adaptations to mitigate the negative effects of the tapetum lucidum on daytime vision. For instance, in dogs, the visual streak is positioned in a way that somewhat alleviates the impact of the tapetum lucidum during daylight. Additionally, the wavelength of the reflected light from the tapetum is often far from the spectral peak of photopigment sensitivity of the M&L cones, which helps reduce the negative impact on visual acuity. So now that we got the science crap out of the way, let's get to the colors of the eyeshine and their meanings. Different animals exhibit different colors of eyeshine, which can sometimes help us identify them. Here are some common examples. Now remember, when I say common examples, this is not all inclusive or all exclusive. Remember, we have different types of light, different angles, and we have different types of mineral compositions that can change. But as a whole, these groups of animals that I'm about to talk about pretty much have these as a regular color. Alligators and crocodiles, fiery red, right? We've seen those. We've seen that big, that famous picture of I can't remember if it's an alligator or a crocodile, but it's got its little eyes out of the water. Owls, many species such as the barn owl and the snowy owl, they show red or orange. Foxes typically have red eyeshine. Rabbits can display red eyeshine. What's really cool about this, blue, all right? I'm sure it's not like a royal blue, but it's blue nonetheless. Horses often exhibit blue eyeshine. Woodchucks, these rodents can show blue eyeshine. Pine martens, they have eyeshine. So let's look at some green ones. Domestic cats commonly exhibit green eyeshine. Dogs can also show green. Raccoons, they can show green. Badgers also. So let's get into white now. White eyeshine, deer typically exhibit white. I said typically. Remember, sometimes they have that light yellow, light blue. It really all depends on everything else that I said earlier. But as a whole, the deer species, deer, elk, flying squirrels, and weirdly enough, tigers, you typically think as giant, scary animals like tigers having red, right? Well, no, they have white. Mountain lions, they have yellow. So what I'm going to do is, bobcats have yellow. Certain livestock and cattle have yellow. And I think I'm just kind of naming off things. So I'm going to stop that now, except I'm going to say one last thing. Coyotes have yellow. All right. So here's the deal. So remember, when we're talking about the light striking the tapetum lucidum and coming back at us, what we're seeing, there's several different factors, right? Remember, we have the light source. Is it a flashlight, a camera, moonlight? All those different things can affect the perceived color of the eyeshine. Remember, we're talking perception here as well. Not everybody sees colors exactly the same way. So we have to keep that in mind when we're talking to witnesses. Not everyone perceives colors the same way, especially when we're talking about different types of light. We have distance and angle. The retina size can impact the intensity and the color of the eyeshine. So there's so many different factors, and we can't just really hang our hat on one Like it's not set in stone kind of thing. And that's really what I'm trying to get across is there's just so many different variables and factors that go into what's going to be reflected back at you. Incidentally, I bet you didn't know that that little reflector in the middle of the road is called a retroreflective pavement marker. It reflects basically the same way that the tapetum lucidum reflects back. Okay, so let's take a minute to talk about what red eye is. When we're talking about like the camera flash and things like that on humans, it's not eyeshine, okay? What it is, I happen to have an eyeball. I'm very happy about this eyeball. I got this eyeball just for this. Kinda. I like to buy things like this. So here's the deal. Number one, it comes apart. All right, so we're gonna put this part down. All right, so what happens is we're in a low light situation. All right, we're in the living room. It's Christmas time. Everyone's taking pictures. Your pupils have dilated to let the light in because we've turned off all the lights for Christmas and we have just the little lights from the Christmas tree. Yes, I know Halloween hasn't come yet and I didn't mean to go there. I was just thinking of a low light situation. But anyway, so your pupils are dilated. You take a picture, that light comes flying through here with your pupil dilated, right? It strikes the back of your retina. That's all this red stuff, right? That's all the red stuff. So it hits the red stuff and boom, it flashes back out. You're just basically looking straight through the open pupil to the back of the retina where all that blood is, right? All right, so that's all that's happening. The pupil wasn't able to close fast enough to keep the light from basically shining inside the eyeball and lighting it up. All right, that's all that is. It's not actually reflecting out. You're just lighting up the inside of the eyeball and being able to look into it for a split second. All right, so on the back side, if you had a tapetum lucidum, it would be behind that layer, right? So that's what's really cool about this. It'd be behind the layer. It would go through that retina, hit that reflective layer and bounce back through, which is really cool. Okay, so one of the things we need to talk about is Bigfoot, right? How does this relate to Eyeshine? I think a lot of people would agree that everyone seems to be on board and saying that, all right, not everybody. All right, a lot of people agree that Bigfoot has eyeshine, which means Bigfoot has a tapetum lucidum, right? Which means that there was an evolutionary adaptation to basically being nocturnal or crepuscular. Which means if they're out during the daytime, they have some of those trade-offs that we talked about visual acuity and things like that. So I think one of the things that we're going to have to come to be on the same page about is Bigfoot having a tapetum lucidum and what color, right? Because remember, we're talking about people who are saying he has, or Bigfoot has red eyes. Some are saying they're glowing on their own, but remember, moonlight can also, now I know people have said that they've seen the glowing eyes from a Bigfoot when there was no moon. I get that. I'm not here to say, I'm not here to make a decision one way or the other, but I am here to say that Bigfoot's not going to have red eyes one day and then they're going to have white to light greenish eyes the next. Unless we're talking about several different types of species, which even then, as you saw, the cat, even from the cats, the big cat species, they're only varying slightly in color. They're not going from yellow to red or from yellow to royal blue or, something crazy like that. They're just slightly changed, like the light green to a white or to a yellow, something like that. And even with the different types of light, or different angles or the different diets or the different mineral compositions, they are not going from one extreme to another. But in a lot of our Bigfoot witnesses, we're going from one extreme to another. So that's something I think we need to consider when we're doing our investigations and we're talking to these witnesses is what is the majority, the majority of these witnesses saying to try to nail down what type of tapetum lucidum that we're talking about. What kind of eyeshine are we really talking about for this particular creature? And I know I'm getting on a tangent here, but I think it's just something to consider, that it doesn't go from one ba-bum ba-bum. You know, it doesn't go crazy from one color to the next. That's all I'm saying. All right. Anyway, in conclusion, Eyeshine is a remarkable adaptation, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. I think I've gotten my point across. I got to show my eyeball. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and drop me an email, send me a message, tell me about something you want to hear about. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep coming up with stuff like this. So hopefully it relates to Bigfoot, which it will. All right. Thank you for watching.